Campervan travels Campervan travels. No matter. Good morning. Once again we're back out with Van. There's this really strange phenomena that we get in Yorkshire sometimes. It's a big yellow ball in the sky, and when we see it, we normally come out and get stuff done. And in this occasion, it's not my engine for once. Once I got back after the last trip, done about 180 miles thereabouts, and I've not lost any oil. That's due to that engine treatment that's in the oil. It stops, because as engines get old, even if they've been reconditioned, as they get older, they tend to lose oil. Just generally just drains through the engine, usually down into exhaust and away. So I'm talking like I've got cold at me, I've got sinus problems. Every time sun comes out, nature just gives off a pheromone, because it thinks summer's coming for some bizarre reason, and it kicks my sinuses off. Right, so yeah, so today it's not to do with engine. I'm going to re-augment the inside of the van a little bit, and I'm going to show you some rust spots, which I did 2 weeks ago, well, a week and a half ago, and which are coming back already. And it seems like a bit of a quick turnaround for rust. But these vans are actually renowned for rust problems. That and the fact that we've got a lot of road salt down at the moment because the snow situations and ice. And that salt, once it gets into water and gets kicked up onto the van, it causes a lot of nightmare for getting into little nooks and crannies and then starting to rust your van from the back of the arches outwards. These have a problem also with the gutters. They tend to leak on the gutters, fiberglass top onto a steel body, and the gutters tend to leak. But what I've done with these, which I might point out if I remember, is I've used some of the window sealant. So I've cleaned all the gutters out all the way around the van, and then I've totally clean. Then I've put some rust killer inside there so I don't get a build up of rust, which is built like a film. And then on top of that, I've put the kind of silicone that you use to hold the windows in, which is slightly, it's got some movement in it, but also it's incredibly strong. But I've also used a bonding agent. It's like a paint that you put on, can't remember the name of it. You put that on first when you do these back windows or windows on cars, and it causes that, it really soaks into the steel or whatever, and then when you put your silicone on, it adheres to it incredibly strong. So I've put that all the way around the gunnel, and I've never had any leaks since. Now, what happens there with these gunnels is that the water comes off the top of the van into the gunnel, and if it finds a leak, it goes down the inside between the two layers of the outside of the van, and then it'll settle down into your sills and around your wheel arches, and it'll rot onto the side of the van, and you'll get deterioration on the actual plate of steel which makes up the back of the van. So I'm not getting that anymore because I've totally sealed those gutters all the way around. But I do still get a problem with the arches. These vans were made from 1993 to 1996, so there's not a huge amount of them. In fact, there's actually only 43 of these legally on the road at the moment as camper vans. So she's getting quite rare. If you look at the song I did about the LDV, read the words, and it says that she's actually getting very, very rare now. So I have to really look after her and make sure I can keep her in good fettle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a look at these little rust spots. And then we're going to go inside and re-augment, just move things around a little bit. So I've got my table back, and I'm going to bring another little storage box in, and I'm going to get rid of that chair because I put the chair in, really, that comfy chair, so that Ellie could lay on it. But she hasn't laid on it, she's laying on my seat. When I'm not in the van, she lays on my seat in the front or on the bed. So it's just surplus to requirement. I just don't need it there anymore. So I'm going to get on with that, and you can come along and join me, have me coffee while I'm doing it. Right, another place on vans for water ingress, which rots out bottom of doors, is down here on these seals fail. It generally does it on cars anyway. The water is designed to go through and then come out two little holes at the bottom, but on these doors, I've left, that's why this one's not rotting, I've left a couple of holes along that gives water a chance to get through, but I've also waterproofed the inside of that door. But if you look over here, See this? That was done a week and a half ago, and that there, so it had obviously not had enough chance to get sorted and dried and sealed and what have you by the time we went away again. And the water ingress for this, ironically, is not from the outside. It's coming down in through there, down the inside of the body and down to here. So sadly what I've got to do this time is grind that out. I'm just going to totally grind it out. And if one thing I always say is people don't like fiberglass on vehicles much, but fiberglass don't rust. But fiberglass don't, long term, it don't bond perfectly to steel. So at some point water will again get underneath that fiberglass bond to the steel and start rotting again. But what I generally do is when I put the steel, sorry, when I grind the steel back, I always put that really high quality rust killer. So what it does, it stops that new rust from forming between the fiberglass and the body and the fiberglass and the steel. So if you look down here, that's what I did with this arch and this back arch. It's fiberglass to about there, not all of it but a lot of it to about there. I've done a lot of work on that and that's not going to rust now, but sadly I didn't do it for some reason. In my wisdom, I didn't do it on this side. That's all right at the moment, that's just been done. But again there, you see that I didn't do that one. That's what starts happening, it starts bubbling. And what's happening is it's the rust on the inside, which is not being adhered properly to the fiberglass, like I said, with the rust killer. And the rust works its way through and then starts bubbling on the surface. So you think you'll grind it back and think, how come I'm not seeing any actual rust? It's fiberglass. It's the steel underneath it, which is rusting, and then it's showing signs through the fiberglass or filler, if that makes any sense. But back here, look, that one's got to be done. That's one I missed. I just didn't do it because I didn't want to do too much work on this part at once. And there's a tiny little bit there that I'm going to redo again. But what I do with these is I proper grind it out. I get all the steel out back to nice steel, and then I'll redo it again. But this had an area just there which had rusted and rotted, and somebody had filled it full of cardboard and paper, and that was due to this up here which was leaking. So I've done all this here all the way around, and that's how the water's coming over there and it runs straight down across the bottom. Well, if that's leaking, that's going to do that straight into there, and it's going to ingress all the way down and rot that area out of the back of there. But also you get the water that comes back off the wheel and hits there, so you've got water and bits of stones and all sorts of stuff, aggregate and all sorts, which is going and hitting the inside of there, and it deteriorates the inside of the arch, and that's where the water ingresses. But it's very important to seal, totally seal the inside of the arch as well. In fact, I'd say it's more important than the outside. It's down to aesthetics, isn't it, on the outside. But if you can get the inside totally sealed, like this one is and the other one, you're not going to get that water ingress through that, because you'll be fighting a losing battle constantly. So today I'm going to get that done, that little bit there, a tiny little bit there, grinder time, don't mess about. But if you look across bottom of here, because I've done it before and there's no filling in that. That's not filled, that's just solid all the way along. And that's because I've really gone out my way to grind it all back, to prepare it, and then to put the underseal, because the entire bottom of the van is undersealed. Here. I'm sitting here editing this video, and I would like to state that today's word is ingress. And another point, when I'm saying gunnel, I'm saying that because I used to be a canoe instructor, so anything which has got sides on it, I see as a gunnel. Please replace the word gunnel with gutter. But gunnel can be used metaphorically. That's an interesting word, metaphorically. So, ingress is the word for today. Another issue place for these vans is underneath that step on each side. The water comes down, gets underneath the step here, and it rusts out the bottom, but I've ensured they're alright. Yeah, the reason I mentioned before about the dates of these 1993 to 1996 is because those years, for some reason, these vans rotted. They did not like it at all. That bit's getting done today as well, on the bottom of the door there. The bottom of these sliding doors goes. so that'll get done today. Yeah, so let's have a quick look inside. Quick muck on me mat, I'm having none of that. Right then, so this here, that is the chair that's just not getting used. So I'm going to get that chair out, and I put my table back up. I'll show you how the table goes up. And then I've got some oil cans, water cans and stuff like that, coolants, that have been put down there, and I get them put away tidy, so I can utilise that step space just there. Right, so first things first, I'll get to show you this chair a little bit first. That lovely throw comes off, and that's what this chair is. And what it does is you can push it right far forward and it clicks, and then you can flatten it so it's flat, and then you can adjust it back up to where you want it. But at the moment we don't want it, so that'll go in my bottom shed. And then we've got this lovely big opening here. So this is a box, which is very handy. There I've got Ellie's food. A lot of this wants to go back in the house. Ellie's food in there. I've got my own stuff in there, clothes, all loads of clothes and stuff in there. And it's got like Velcro on the bottom, so it holds onto the carpet. But we'll get that out of the way. So that's one storage box. Now this just lifts up. Legs come down. And that's it. That's how simple that is. Right, so there you go. It can either go like that, or possibly even like that, because it fits both ways. It's a nice box, isn't it? Throws, and that's a nice jacket actually. And bits and bobs in there, some of that needs to come out. There's some here which will come up in another video soon. See that piece of paper that's just there, it's going to be, and I get some little rubber glue things to stick it in place. That'll be made relevant in relation to the rear diff of the van. So look out for that video, because that's actually quite an important one. So when you look at it at face value, it don't look as if there's a huge amount of storage, because there's so much room. But I've got storage in there, storage underneath there, storage at the end, storage at the bottom, storage across them two at back there, storage underneath the bed. I've got that storage just there and storage just there. And there's only me and Ellie. So how much storage do you need? And we've got a massive bed, and the chair that I use is down there next to the bed. You see it, just it's there anyway. Like this chair there next to the bed and table, so I just sit there and eat from there. I wasn't using table much. I have to start doing a few more hobbies when I'm out and about, so I can utilise that. It's one of the reasons that, in fact, I actually put the chairs back in just there, because there was just so much room. I was sort of echoing around in here. But now the access to the chair when I drive, I just walk up and get in, and Ellie likes to, she used to have to jump over the back of there where the heater is. And she didn't particularly like that, so now she can just go and jump in my chair, and I can just literally walk around in here. If anybody didn't see this properly, last videos by the way, it's worth its weight in gold. It's a psychological thing, because when you got your heater on at night, with this being a grey van, we know what to say about grey, don't we? So it's a bit of a cold, not very homely sort of, it's becoming more popular I think in homes now, but you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying. So having this, it just works with batteries, and the batteries last for ages. It's just a couple of little LEDs, and having that just there on a night when I'm laid in bed, it's lovely. It says it can do 10,000 hours, whether it can or not I don't know. I don't use it that much often, but yeah, it's a lovely little thing. You can get them on Amazon and eBay, so I'd advise anybody getting one if you've got a camper van, especially something like a Volkswagen van, which is quite small. You're going to stick that outside and you've got your own on your own home fire. It's lovely. Your brain just thinks it's a fire. It's that simple. It just looks lovely and warm, the colours. So there you go. And quickly here, that's where my vent is. And the reason, you'll notice if you can see inside, it's not blocked off on the sides. There's no piece of piping on the inside to make it just come from here to the other side. There's no ducting from here to the other side. It just shut off if I want it to. and that's because it allows air to travel around the inside between the wall, internal wall, and the outside, and that gets rid of any moisture and condensation. Very, very important. And there's another one on the inside at the back of that cupboard, and I think there's another one over there. And then I've got the skylight, and sometimes I'll leave my windows cracked at the front, so I've always got air circulating around inside the van, and it keeps it nice and fresh. I'm just covering things which people might not think of, you know, and you don't tend to see in videos. There you go. One thing I do want to point out, in a bit you'll see me when I do this. I'm not going to be videoing while I'm actually grinding, because I don't want to get the dust into the mechanism of the camera. I'll show that as I'm going along. This time of year, another reason I put the rust killer on top and dry the rust killer, and can get I get me burner, a heat gun onto this before I do it, before I put the fiberglass in, and that's because humidity at this time of year is very high, and if you grind down to steel on here, by the time you've got round to mixing your fiberglass and sorting it out, there will be a form of humidity which is sort of settling, it's probably just a microscopic level, onto that steel. And believe me, steel doesn't need much enthusiasm to start rusting. So I generally just warm it all off, put the rust colour on first, allow it to bond, warm it up, wait till it bonds properly, and then put the fiberglass on. Because if you rush it, you will end up with this situation. I mean, this has been brought on because of the salt on the ground. After I'd done it, I went straight out basically next day with the van, which I shouldn't have done because the paint won't have even adhered. Quickly about the paint, this is military style paint, ceramic paint, and it's designed to actually capture light. So the light goes into it, and it's got this very, very fine furry edge on ceramic furry edge on the outside of the paint. So when the light enters it, it actually it holds onto the light. There's like a spectrum holding it in there, and don't release it as freely as normal paint would. Definitely not reflective paint or something that's got a gloss on it. So I can only wash this van with just with water. I can't use any detergents or car shampoos or polishes or anything. I literally just use very, very slightly lukewarm water to wash the van off. I didn't know that when I first got it, so I washed it all with shampoo and stuff, and I thought it was the sun that were bleaching it, and it weren't. It was the shampoo itself that were getting locked into the paint and then having a chemical reaction with the paint, and it destroyed the colour of the paint. So what you have to do, unless you get a special matte camouflage sort of shampoo, just use water, because otherwise you'll be running around in circles having to repaint your van. And I've had to do this 3 times now. It's not something I want to do as an hobby. So yeah, just a heads up there for anybody who's got a van which has got camouflage paint. Don't use any detergents or anything on it. Just use lukewarm water and a good sponge pad, and it'll come up lovely. Right, in order to be able to perform some kind of damage control, because I tend to be a little bit wild with big grinder, I'm going to go with this first. Let's use a Dremel with a grinding bit on. And then see how deep that rust is going. I am at some point today going to get underneath the bonnet and all and see if I can do some rust control by stopping the water getting down and ingressing through top bonnet area. But yeah, we're going to try this first and see how that goes, so I don't have to get my big grinder out and start ragging it about. It's the position of where it is as well. I'll just show you. You see, I don't want to damage. See what I've done before? I've got a big grinder, so I've got to try and go across there now with this little grinder and into that, see if I can get through the rust, just get rid of it entirely, and then start again with some fiberglass. Right, it's going through. I've had a go at it with the Dremel. It's not having any of it, so it's like getting the big guns out now. So here she is. I didn't want to, but sometimes you got to, won't you? So what I've got here is crud. In order to be able to get this crud out, see it all, it's what's broke. It's come down from the inside of the back of the van, the front of the van, and this is, I think we're about to find what the last, or somebody was using to fill or mend this. It's a sponge. Somebody in their wisdom has decided to use an actual sponge to sort this out. And what you can see in here is years and years of repair, and all the sponge does is holds onto water. Look at this. And there's no access from the other side, so it's all got to come out here. So I'm going to have to go and get my chair, and this is why obviously this repair's not been repairing, because it's full of sponge. It's almost a joke, isn't it? So I'm going to have to get all this out now. Who on earth in a million years repairs a van rust with a sponge? But this has been on the road now for 32 years. So it's 32 years worth of people doing quick repairs, and each person down the line has those repairs to mend. So if you're doing a repair on a van, it's just a quick one. Just remember, whoever gets the van off you is going to have to deal with that later. And if it's yours and you're keeping it, you're going to have to deal with it later. That's a huge sponge in there. Oh well, I'll show you what I got out. I made a revelation. As this one in the back on both wings and in the front, I now know what it is. It's old-fashioned foam filler. Do you remember the filler that you used to get for, like, I don't know, filling orifices and cavities? It's cavity foam filler, and it's dreadful, and I'm guessing it's all inside that wing. So the option is to replace the wing, or to do my best I can with what I've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush all that out, blow all the rubbish out in it so it's totally clean. Then I'm going to spray rust killer all the way down the inside of the sill as far as I can get, and that I think is as good as it's going to get. And then try and get online and find a new wing for this front, which is a bit of a ball ache, but you know, sometimes. But for now, I'll just keep it as it is, clean it all up and contingency, because it's literally full. I've been at it for ages. That's just a little bit of what I've got, so it's all got to come out, all this rubbish here, and then fill it all through and just spray it all full of rust killer, and hope that the foam itself actually holds onto the rust killer. And then I'll get up to top and stop that ingress of water coming in. Come up against these things in future, people, for future reference, don't put foam filler in your wings and arches and your sills. Eventually will come back and bite you in the arse, because it's going to hold on to moisture and it's just going to rot your van away. Down to as far as I can. Try to get it back of there as well. What's left of rust killer will get that. So the next bit is to, I've got these little bits and all, see these little, for some rust spots, get to them before they start getting any worse. Next bit is to dry it out. The problem with that is, if it's got the filler foam in, it's the old stuff. There's no to say it's not flammable, so I've got to be very, very careful now, because I need to get all this moisture out of here before I can think about putting the rust killer in and drying that out. So see how we go. I don't just put it in, I spray rust killer in. I might have to go and buy some more. Here it goes. I've got my fire extinguisher if it all goes bad. Steady, just steady pace, not to rush. Checking inside, and I noticed that this little sill, gunnel, that goes up here, it seemed alright. And then I noticed just here, you see it, there's a crack that goes across. And that could be enough, because that's where water sort of holds itself. And if the water's going down through there, it'll go down through the inside down there, and there is no access to anything down there. It's all sealed. So as water's going down, it lingers down through the shell and then drop into that bottom corner. That's drying now. Has it gone? Which camera? There we go. It's now drying. It won't be long now before I can get some of that rust killer in there and get that dried as well. So we haven't set the van on fire. Right, that's got rust killer in it now. I'll leave that, it's all waiting to back there. I've put some heat into it. And on top of it, yeah, I've just put some on there as well. Where is it? I've cleaned it all up and just put some more in. There, let it do its thing. And then seal it. Right, that's the stuff I use. Never had a problem with it, it's worked brilliantly every time. So if anybody wants any advice as far as rust killer, get your hammer right. Brilliant. Right, you can probably see there that most of that's black on the side door. That's because I totally killed it with rust killer. I think it carbonates it. So it's must have been a little bit of something still in there. So I've ground it all back, see fiberglass. I'll get back in there and spray more rust killer in, let that do its job. And then fill it. So you can see it front. All these have been ground out now. Looks a bit messy at the minute because I've got plenty of fiberglass inside there, there's loads in. And it's obviously been rust coloured and also see all the steel's gone black. So I'll let that dry and then sand it back, but it's drying slowly because it's cold. Anybody's in any doubt about me pulling newspaper out of my arches, where's it gone? It's just fell back in. Oh, here we are. Here we go. Literally newspaper. It's coming out my arches at the back. Somebody's rammed it full of newspaper and then proceeded to fill it. Now, this reinforces the idea of getting fiberglass in there, because I've tried to try and get all this out and I always seem to find a bit more, like it's hiding now. And fiberglass ain't going to rust, so I can't find any more now. Just got all that on the floor though, look. And I'll continue to try and get it. Here we are. There you go. I've had entire newspapers that I've pulled out in the past. Look at all this. All this area over here was just rammed full of newspaper. That's all right for now. But now I get rust killed and sorted. These little bits here. That's all there is this time on this end. There you go, that's sorted. The beauty of this stuff and all is you can paint on it. So that's all sealed in there now. There were a little, just there on the edge, there were a crack where them two pieces of steel joined and the water will have been going down through there as well, so that's sorted as well. So hopefully that's going to stop water coming down through from the top of the van. There you go. Now we're down to the fiberglass bits done. It's down to surface filler, and I've just got all this right, and now it's going to be a case of, that looks like it's got some on it, it's not, it's actually where the sandpaper's gone through the paint. So once that's been repainted, that'll be alright. But you can see underneath, all good, all killed inside there. So now, top filler. Right, a place on these, we'll go around and have a look. The place on these that it tends to go is on this main girder here, just there. For some reason, that little section there, you can see I've had a piece of steel. I paid Ian to put a piece of steel on each side just there, and I was noticing where these holes are, they're like drainage holes, and to make sure oxygen and air gets around the inside of these big two steel main beams that go all the way down from front to back of the van. They make it very rigid. They don't get them in vans anymore, they're too dangerous if they ever crash, so, or if they run into somebody. So these just there, and I'll show you the other one, is where they tend to rot. So if you've got an LDV 400, be aware of that. Inside the back arches should be solid and all undersealed, totally undersealed. We'll get under a second, have a look inside the arch itself, but I'm not seeing any rust in there. Now that might look a bit rough, but I'll tell you what, the arch is solid on the inside and it's all undersealed. Ding dong. There you go. The place these get hammer is in the back under the back sill. Ensure that you've got all that covered. There's some tiniest little bits of rust in there, they'll get dealt with at some point, but all the way across here, make sure you keep them good and solid. Even the rear diff and everything's been under sealed. We'll be talking about that rear diff. It has been replaced at some point and it will become relevant. I'm due to be dropping the oil out of that diff and putting new oil in soon. I can't get into the arch from where I am, so I'm literally looking around now for any sign of any rust under here that I can, but it's always kept up to scratch. But you know, you never know, do you? It's a brand new prop shaft. Well, not brand new, it's reconditioned. I took it in, it went at one end, so I got it reconditioned. So we're looking round for rust. It's got a rusty exhaust. They do rust, don't they, exhausts? But at some point I'll probably rub that back and repaint it. So I'm looking for, that's what you need to be doing, you need to be going around and looking for any rust you can see. Ensure all your mechanisms and stuff are all well greased. I'm telling a lot of people how to suck eggs here, but it is so important, especially with old vans like this, because if you don't look after them, they will catch you up. It will catch you up and it'll get you in a big way. It's had rear calipers. It's had front brake calipers replaced. It's got drum brakes on the back of this. I'll be doing this anyway, so I just thought I'd bring it under with me. See, all the way down the sills. That side need to be solid. Put up and personal at minute with engine, but Ian told me about the wheel bearings that I should have checked, and I didn't check them when the wheel bearings went, and then he told me to check my alternator, and ironically my alternator went. So if somebody knows what they're doing and they remind you to do something, my advice is do it. Sorry. I will do it in future. And he's also reminded me to drop the oil out my rear diff. So I'm going to be doing my rear diff oil here. I can't see any rust. Front arches, they're solid inside. Am I obsessive or what? Slightly obsessive. Oh dear. So I ain't going to worry about any of that at the moment. So it's back to the superficial stuff on the outside and the door. The thing is, Ian knows what he's doing. He knows what's liable to go, and he knows from experience. He's had lots of experience. He knows from lots of experience what things on certain vehicles tend to fail. When he tells me about stuff and it goes wrong, I was like, oh, I knew anyway. Like, I didn't. So it is good to have somebody who can sort of remind you, because there's so many different things that can go wrong on an old van like this. She's 32 now. It's only another 8 years and she'll be a classic. So yeah, Ian, if you're listening, I do listen. Sometimes I tend to be more concerned with things like the interior and the look of the van. But obviously the infrastructure of them, the subframe and all the engine and stuff like that, that needs looking after as well. And when I do get my hand into it, I can be very obsessive. So I won't leave a job. The biggest job I think I've had to do on this was doing the fuel pump. It was losing fuel when I was driving, but it weren't doing it when it was stood still. And it turned out it was the return pipe. As the engine was being used, they were coming back through the return pipe from the glow plug, from the injectors, and it were going back into the fuel pump, and then it was just draining onto the floor. I was using a lot of fuel, and it took me ages and ages to try and sort it out. I eventually had to take it off and send it away for reconditioning, but when it came back, it had been set up slightly different after we'd cleaned it and dismantled it and put it back together. So it took me a good while messing around and advancing and retarding the fuel pump and setting it all up in order to be able to get it done. I was quite proud of myself for that. But yeah, there's been a lot of jobs, and it's been a massive learning curve, and it's going to continue to be a massive learning curve. Because there's lots of things I don't know about this van, even though I know a lot of things about it. So never assume that you know everything about a vehicle. because there's a damn good chance that you don't, and there's going to be those little hidden things. And don't be afraid to ask your friends. I ask Ian all the time about things, and I ask other people and stuff. And I go online and I go on forums and I go on Facebook groups and pages and all sorts of stuff. And then also go on to eBay and look for parts, because there's certain parts which are getting very rare, and it's always worth getting new ones. I mean, I've got another radiator. The radiators of this are literally just non-existent. So to get a radiator for this, I got one. I managed to find one, and I paid for it. I've got it in my shed. Another difficult thing to find is going to be the rear diff. If that ever goes, I need to get another one, but I'm hoping to get the same one, because I'll talk about the diffs eventually. But getting different parts, for example, injectors for these vans for the EN55 engine, rocking horse poo. So when I came across some, because people don't want to take the injectors out of the engine because it renders the engine pointless because you can't get the injectors. So I leave the injectors in. So I managed to get a pair, and then I got another pair offered. They were expensive, but I got them reconditioned. I've got one full set of reconditioned injectors in house, and I've got a set of reconditioned ones in the engine. So yeah, it's important to get those little bits and bobs, because eventually you're going to need them. I've even thought about getting an entire new reconditioned engine and just sitting it in shed. Okay, so as far as that's done, she's done. Some fine surface scratches, but the paint that we use for this is incredible stuff. It not only fills fine scratches, but it matches up amazingly. It looks a different colour for about 3 or 4 days slightly, and then once it dries it goes this green matte greyish sort of colour. So I've done that one now, so don't worry about that. It's going to be painted black anyway. It's matching to what this bumper's due for doing. So and it's done all the way into the back, and at the back there it's all been rust killed inside there as well. So looking forward to getting some paint on there. Now it's got to go down and get those sills done on the bottom of the side door. Right, so it's not a perfect match now, but it will be. Put a little bit of paint on there, and I do the entire bumper probably tomorrow. It's like shiny at the moment, but you get the idea. So that's all right. All down there's been done again. It's slightly shiny. It normally takes about 2 days for it to get to colour. So all that's been done. At least I know now that the integrity of them jobs is done properly. It's been ripped out, apart from that foam that's in there. It's been ripped out. It's been all the rust been removed, dried out, rust killer put in, fiberglass, then the top coat of filler, and then painted. It's got 3 coats on that, and this is quite tough paint. So again, that's been done as well. So you see it is a slightly different colour, but it will blend. It's amazing for blending this stuff. But you can see there, see them runs down at the side? That's the salt. So you can wash and wash and wash it, and the salt still permeates out. And this paint is really bad for holding on to that road salt. So I have to just keep washing it and washing it. There's some ripples in here, because I know that this is, see the ripples in arch? I know they're there. At some point I'm going to take all that off the top. There you go. I'm going to take all that off the top. I'm going to put some top filler on, and I'm going to flatten it all off so it's all nice. Right, so that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Look out for his next video, whatever that's going to be, and we'll see you soon. Campervan travels. Campervan travels. Not bad.